Well, I don't see any reason not to roll with just a couple quick introductions, get that stuff out of the way. If people roll in a little late, if people are a little sad today and don't want to jump in at all, that's fine. Let's do the initial part. I'll start off. I'm Vu. I am one of the founders of GoldMint. We're an algo stable pegged to PAXG on Ethereum. We are somewhere around our 87th or 88th epoch, and uh, we have some pretty cool ideas to talk to you guys about tonight. I won't get too far into that yet. Might let the rest of the guys introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'm Monkey, the head of operations pretty much, and pretty much just work with the guys here and figure out what's going on and what to do and what are we building next and what are we innovating next and what's happening. Yeah.
Everybody, I'm Doc. Thanks for joining. So I'm one of the co-founders with Vu. I've also led our angel and investor group, and then I think most importantly, with regard to the protocol, I'm in charge of trying to put our DAO to work in good use.
Yeah, that just about
Yeah.
sums it up. So let's start off with what we weren't expecting to talk about, which is the current market situation with UST and some of the things we're seeing with other stable coins and the results and effects that's had on the rest of the market. The market's overall without that. Um, we were already in a pretty bear market, for a couple of months here, and then it got really aggressive in the last week or two, and that was seen in markets outside of crypto as well. So we definitely have a lot of like friends and participants who've seen like pretty heavy losses elsewhere, like especially over the last 24 hours with a token that they believed or thought was stable. So we're definitely like noticing that and feeling pretty bad and pretty nervous to see what can happen with other stable coins. And at the same time, it makes us appreciate the peg that we chose. There is something special about PAXG, and having a token that's backed by gold. It's not dependent on any one particular system of mathematics. It's actually backed by gold in a vault in London.
Yeah.
It's a particularly stable coin. It's not referring to one particular country's currency. It's not national picking this or that. There is something really to be appreciated there that can be overlooked. And then on a week like this week, when you start to question, what exactly is a stable coin, and which of my holdings are safe and secure, and what can and can't go up in value, it's definitely a time to appreciate and look at why we chose PAXG as our peg, and we'll definitely be getting more into that later.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
That's it's really been an exciting and scary, I guess, 2 weeks. It's been kind of exciting for us to see how well PAXG has performed, how well our token Goldman's performed, and really shown the difference, I guess, in what it means by picking a peg. Like, everybody is like, oh, we'll pick this, we'll just pick AVAX, or we'll just pick Ethereum or whatever. But I guess, like, not a lot of people put true thought into that, but these two guys next to me here really did. And it's really worked out in this situation for us, and that's the big difference too about like it's a physically backed asset, not just a collateralized or I don't know anything like that. It's physically backed, so it shows um, the strongness of it, I guess. Luna and
it was one of 4 or 5 on Coin Market Cap today. It was green.
mhm,
Um, I
it's
mean,
funny.
it was just it was unbelievable. It took me a while. Monkey and I were on VC when I opened Coin Market Cap for the first time today. And since this is recorded and going to be made, I can't use anywhere close to the words I used. But I was really taken aback. I don't want to, brag for Doc's guidance in the direction we went, but there is something different about the stable coin that we picked. Yeah, it can go up and down in value a little bit in terms of whatever your national currency is, PAXG. Gold is going to change, in price, and that is something that we can accept. And people would say that that's not as good of a stable coin. I mean, 2 or 3 days ago, you could say that if you were a person who provided LP and was very worried about impermanent loss or change in value, that we had picked less good of a peg than, say, UST. How does that sentence stand today? It's just really a realization, that what we say is stable, can be taken for granted, and there is something special about the stable peg that we've selected, and there is no
Yeah.
guarantee that it won't change in value at all. But it's a value that a lot of people would like to have their holdings assigned to. I know a lot of the folks in this protocol are pretty happy that they moved into PAXG or GoldMint over the last 2 weeks. And just about anywhere else you look in DeFi right now, the participants are not feeling the same way. I was over in one of our friend protocols, Great Finance, last night, just in the general chat, and just asked how I was doing. Someone asked me how I was doing, and I said, "Oh, I'm enjoying the weather, sitting outside having an IPA." He said, "My main server, everyone is freaking out." He's like, "We're down 75% today. Everyone is so depressed, and you guys are hanging out here drinking IPAs." So although
Just
we may
relaxing.
not be at pay yet, every single thing didn't go perfectly. We should really appreciate where we're sitting, what our peg is, and what our token has been doing over the last couple weeks, because there's a lot of people who haven't fared as well, even
Well,
folks who thought they were being safe or stable.
yeah, another thing that we were talking about too is, most people that I guess have, gotten into our protocol or participated, like I gotta say, like, 90% plus are only up right now. Like we started off with that one bad actor, like kind of diminishing the price and everything, and kind of just allowed people to get in at extreme low, and now it's just a slow, steady growth up. We haven't faced much backlash compared to everything else in the market. Even the stable ones, like our friends Grape, like they held up fantastic, but they are feeling the repercussions of the market. But yeah, we're just lucky that we aren't.
I think it's part luck, and it's part the message that we're delivering in the
Yeah,
market that we're in. I said the other day, if I had a time machine, I would have launched a protocol at any other time, forwards or backwards in history. It's a terrible market. But maybe that's not necessarily true, because we are different from other protocols. I said at the beginning, we picked a stable peg. We set an ambitious goal. We picked a stable network. And we set high goals for ourselves, and we are slowly working our way towards achieving them, and other people are seeing that as they see other things that they thought were stable or thought were promising be disappointing. They're starting to come on board with our message. We have a 2-year plan here. We purposely set our main emissions to go for 2 years. We purposely set the DAO up to be able to sustain that in the future past that, before we even launched. And it really is just the beginning. um, and even though it's been a tough week, maybe considering the type of project we're launching, maybe this was the right time to launch, because it sounds like some people are looking for the type of thing we have to offer.
yeah. I've seen lots of people just on Twitter and stuff. I've been on Twitter seeing all the drama and everything. It's always fun to read about, what's happening, and the suspicion of everything that's going on. But lots of people are tweeting like, well, what do I do this week, like where should I invest, like what's going up, like everything has been bad. But we're pretty in a good spot to say that, yeah, you can come hang out here. We've had a great time going up in a down week, so pretty good capitalization on that this week for sure.
Yeah, if I may too, not only through this market, and trust me, I got Vu and Monkey. No, I was big Terra guy, so I got smoked. And when I look at my portfolio and I see the one thing that really didn't change or went up a little bit was my GoldMint, my PAXG, right? So it's actually, I personally breathe a sigh of relief when that happens. The other thing that we don't talk about here is there's two, I think, significant upside scenarios for us right now. Number one, with regard to our token specifically, there's still ways to go to get pegged, so that intrinsic upside is built in there. I think when you look on a global market and a global scale for gold, it's also poised to at some point really have a dramatic move, at least in comparison to the precious metal markets. When you look at inflation, when you look at the war, when you look at the stock markets and equities, everything is positioned for gold to move upwards, not backwards. So those two things are really encouraging for GoldMint as a protocol.
100%, definitely. It's been pretty, I don't know, it's been pretty good for gold for a long time, like, and really, like, the percentage dips and ups, like, it's not drastic at all, like, the impermanent losses, it's, it's not drastic whatsoever. It's a beautiful peg choice. The, yeah, I guess, one thing I, like, wanted
No,
to
I
talk about a
couldn't.
little bit was just the whole, like, stable coin, I guess, everything, like, um whole
Why are
situation.
stables stable? Was
Yeah.
the question that I heard down on my notes from earlier. That maybe today is a realization that we have to relook at. What does each one of us, and I'm not saying that there's an exact correct answer, but what is a stable coin? That we could almost do show of hands, but like who, 2 or 3 days ago, I would have considered UST to be a stable coin, and I guess I don't anymore. So it does bring up a good question, like what makes a stable coin? As you look at this market, let's not talk about how you want to participate this week. This week sucks. We all know that. But as you look at this in the long term, what is stable? What is a stable coin? What are your requirements? You know, our token, GoldMint, is an algo stable. It seeks to acquire the price of something else using, mechanics that will work over time to get it to the price it wants to be. It is not guaranteed to be, at a certain price. But our algo stable is picked to PAXG, and that's what I consider to be a stable token. And I think it's considered worldwide to be a stable token. It has
Mhm.
well over $600 million, I think, in total liquidity. And I just think, as some of us are looking at what we consider something stable in our LP, like I said earlier, 2 or 3 days ago, you could have made an argument that my peg or this protocol's peg was less stable than UST, and now we can see that that's not the case at all. So just what is a stable coin, and what kind of stable coins do you want to be associated with? And what should other algo stables be pegged to? And what's a good peg and what's a bad peg? Um, there's some questions that this week's really brought to light,
Mhm.
and I think it really has shown why PAXG was a good choice.
Well, and another thing is, what would be the market repercussion if, let's say, USDT depegged? Like, what's gonna happen then if that
Absolutely.
ever happened? Like, like we were saying, Bitcoin $80. Who knows? Could be could be an absolute
No, it's
outrage.
that wasn't a joke we made earlier,
Yeah.
but it's something I said, and the way I exactly expressed it was, I fear the failure of stables. I don't want to, I remember when there was questions about, Tether and things like that. I always want to see that the things that people believe are stable are actually a good choice, and that they are stable. And I had someone, I spoke to earlier today that I, highly respect it, and consider, to be someone who participates in great projects. They're like, actually, I only learned about PAXG from you guys. So there is something to be thought about it and what we all consider to be stable coins. And maybe there are some people who weren't looking at that before and are now looking at it because of us. And if that helped anyone, perform better this week than their previous positions, that definitely makes me happy.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's all very interesting. And something I wanted to, I don't know, kind of bring up, I guess, is what could be more interesting is the how it really like the whole crash, it could all be entirely manipulation, um, just based off of, I've read it like multiple times off of Twitter, so it's not, it's Twitter, you never know. um, but you'll see a couple different things, and a lot of people saying it that Duquan guy behind like the LFG Foundation, the Terra, Luna, everything, um, he allegedly made a deal to, what was it?
I don't want to get too far
Yeah,
into allegations, but it,
it's
it
it's just
does go to
interesting.
show that you are in decentralized finance.
Mhm.
This is not centralized finance. You don't know necessarily who else is participating in the same protocol as you. And it is a good reminder, to be safe. And just because something's trending in the top 20 tokens or your favorite influencer participates in it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee for safety, whether that, person running it is a good person or a bad person or otherwise. There's a lot of things that can not work out according to the original plan in DeFi, and you do have to keep your eyes on that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. DeFi is a
Gold
lot.
market has been excuse me, too sorry
No,
for
you're
interrupting,
good.
but the gold market has been around forever, for longer than stocks, equities, obviously crypto, but so gold, it's known, it's not going to change. I think that's one of the hard things, that in crypto, sometimes we always just chase yield, and right, but maybe sometimes we need to look to not only chase yield but a little more stability too, and for the long term, because sometimes in crypto, when it rains it pours, like over the last few weeks and days like today. So if to be able to be a safe haven that you can, in a place where you can still earn yield and good yield, but not worry about the bottom completely falling out, is there's not very many places you can find
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better
Yeah.
myself, Doc.
Honestly, yeah, Doc is the lead man for this. He knows all about gold, and honestly, he's most, I guess, veteran out of everyone. So really knows the ins and out of it all. I was curious though if you wanted to chime in a little bit, Doc, on the whole Terra stuff, because I know you have participated.
that.
Um, what's your
Yeah, no, I'll be happy to, more from sort of an investor and a crypto guy. It's not like I got in the game yesterday. I've been around for a while. Vu will tell you I've been a really big Terra guy. I've personally been pretty heavily invested in the ecosystem and some of the things that are developing, and I honestly had faith in the backing and what they were doing behind Terra and UST, and building sort of the moat and reserves, and seemed like a good idea. And but boy, you talk about the bottom falling out. I mean, this is probably going to go down as one of the biggest stories in the history of crypto, and the biggest collapses. And ultimately, Vu and I were talking about this today. I think it led to a pretty severe cascade effect, right? Because they're the Luna Foundation and everything, their moat. What were they using to sort of offset the losses of Terra? Well, they were liquidating Bitcoin, right? And they were doing it in massive fashions at a time that really wasn't good for a market. So I don't know. It was pretty profound. I think you've already seen some of the regulators, at least in the U.S., screaming from the top of the mountain about this too. And again, it goes back to what Vu said. Ultimately, with PAXG, it's backed. Everyone is backed by an actual ounce of gold. So there's no play there. There's no tricky math. It's pretty straightforward. Um, so yeah, today I got to be honest with everybody. Today gave me more appreciation for our protocol than I think I ever had. So just because it was pretty profound what happened.
Mhm. Definitely. Um, I guess maybe we can
Do we
talk a
want to
little
do
bit.
whitelist and node
Yeah, we can.
conversational?
Yeah, talk a little bit about I guess what's going on here now, and a little bit of the plan coming up, and what's been going on.
Yeah. So, we've done a good job of talking about how we were stable going into this week and, having stability in a tough market. But our goal is to not only provide stability, but to also provide yield. That's why we are now Go Stable and we are not an exact copy of PAXG. Both of us have our strengths. So we're looking at different ways always to improve the protocol and round out the ecosystem. Uh, and as we've been talking about a little bit, one of the next things we're going to be doing is rolling out nodes. Our nodes are going to be a little bit different. They are meant to accept GoldMint. They're GoldMint, GLDM nodes. But because we are always going to take care of our bond holders, you can also participate by turning in your bond tokens as the equivalent at the exact same ratio as turning in GoldMint. So for some folks who said, they were loyal and got into the bonds early, even though we weren't close to the 1.1 redemption, I've been saying the whole time, we're going to take care of you. So there are definitely going to be ways to use those tokens that you've acquired even before we get to PEG, which hopefully is soon. And then while we're approaching PEG, it's going to be a great time for the rest of the folks who want to participate in nodes. If you haven't got a bond token yet, there aren't that many available. GoldMint is still trading at about a quarter of our PEG. We have a great plan to get there, and it is a tough market at the moment, but we will take as long as it takes to get there. We're just going to keep doing what we have to do, reducing supply and increasing demand until we get that system balanced. And we're going to continue to work on balancing it forever. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a good time to look at that because we're also going to increase the amount of GoldMint nodes available. I think the original numbers we talked about were, I think, 750 maybe bond GoldMint nodes and 500 GoldMint nodes. I think we were going to double the GoldMint nodes up to 1,000. We don't necessarily expect all 1,000 to participate, but as we were talking as a team, it kind of felt like, if you didn't have a bond or a bond token, or you didn't have GoldMint yet or act quickly, you were going to pursue getting on the whitelist and risk not having an opportunity to actually participate in the nodes. So we're going to try to open up the nodes to accept more GoldMint participants. So more people who are whitelisted, even if you're a little bit busy right when the nodes drop or something like that, you're more likely to be able to participate. We're still going to keep the plan to only keep this first round of nodes, which has higher incentives and rewards, available for maybe in the range of 2 weeks. And then if you weren't whitelisted and you didn't get them in those 2 weeks, anything that's left over is burned. They're gone. There's not enough. There will be more opportunities for nodes, but this first round, with the promotions and rewards available with it, are not going to be available much longer than about 2 weeks after they're released.
Yeah.
I guess another thing I can say about the nodes is that because of this, and because we're bringing in the bonds as well, and it's meant to be a quarterly expiration, we are also committed to using the DAO to subsidize it. So a lot of times the problem with some of the nodes that you see out there is they say like, oh, well, in this ideal situation, we can provide you, 500% or 1,000% or, whatever return on investment. But it's under the premise that the node program is going to see some sort of, really high growth or even unachievable growth. So we do have to always remember and appreciate the fact that we have Doc and the DAO behind us. And the DAO's committed to helping sustain the node program if any part of its growth isn't natural enough. So when we roll out these nodes, we're not going to ask you to participate without being able to give you, I don't want to say a guarantee, but some sort of pretty clear understanding of what you can expect as a return on your investment. And don't forget that right now, GoldMint is trading at a quarter peg. So if over the course of the 3 or 4 weeks through the selling of the nodes, moving on to market recovery, we're trading at peg. We're not just talking about, maybe being able to get 2 GoldMint for every GoldMint, but also seeing the value of each GoldMint that you have go up, 4x or more. So there's going to be the clear ROI offered through the node program, but there's also going to be that unappreciated ROI. We're telling you what we're going to return in GoldMint. But if the perceived value of GoldMint and the value that GoldMint's traded in the market goes up in that time, which I certainly expect it will continue to do so, you're going to see that return as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure the nodes are a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, essentially, depending on how the protocol is functioning, if it's functioning and good, like we're printing and everything, then the nodes will be more beneficial. That's at least the
exactly. Yeah, the nodes are sustained, but the nodes are part of the ecosystem. You know, that the protocol being in a healthy spot is going to guarantee our node holders the highest rewards. And through planning them out strategically and using our DAO, we believe there's going to be some sort of minimum or appealing set of rewards that we can be quite certain will be delivered, regardless, you know, even if we aren't printing every epoch. Although I think there's a pretty clear path to heading there by the time we're starting to reward the node participants. There's a lot of things we're working on behind the scenes too. That's a little bit of alpha maybe, but I assure you there's a lot of other stuff we're looking at that's going to be pretty cool for this protocol.
Yeah, it's just like we're still under 1 month, I think. Yeah, so it's still lots and lots to come. So it's I don't know, it's awesome. It's really fun. There's going to be so much more to come, and it's going to be pretty exciting, I think, for everybody. Bring more people in and make it a good time.
All right, on core team, do we have anything else we want to add before we start to move to open it up to questions?
No, I would just say, you know, everybody too, I always think about keep an eye on the circulating supply. You know, when you look at how many GoldMint tokens are out there right now, I think it's right around 1,400 or so. There's not many. And in my opinion, and I own a pretty fair share, I'd say, and I've been buying more. I think they're at a pretty good discount. So there's not many floating around there. So if the getting gets hot, it could go pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good way to close it out. Also, 4 questions tonight. We have, what do we have? I think it's 1 GoldMint bond token, a half a GoldMint bond token, and a quarter GoldMint bond token, or 3 of the best questions, if that's correct.
I mean, we'll see
So
how
you
she
guys can
goes.
start to think about what you want to ask.
Yeah, if you guys start asking some questions and stuff, if you want to raise your hand, come up and talk.
That can be either be on stage or if you want to do it in the text part, we'll get through them. I'll answer most of what I can. Send the other ones off, and we'll have someone here. I'll let you know. Pick 3 of them for the winners. Do we have any hands? Do we have any text ones?
I think it's Jorge or George. I don't know which one it is, but I think he missed out on the part where you're talking about the ROI. If you want to go over that just a slight bit for him. Estimated ROI on the nodes.
Yeah, so we're not going to hold that exact answer there, but there is a potential that there's going to be some pretty good return on them. Probably have to stop sweet talks, and I can't say that's an exact official answer there. So I guess for an estimate, I don't have final numbers, but for an estimated, I can tell you I was looking for potential ranges to possibly sustain I think it was about 0.05, 0.06 in epoch.
Yeah. 0.06 per
excuse me, it's
epoch.
0.6. It's 0.6 in epoch.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the math we're working out on the back end. That is not a guarantee. That is not a promise. But so that 500 ROI can be a little, what's your ROI? So it's usually going to be, they're going to be 3 months. They're going to be quarterly. probably. So if you choose to keep participating in nodes, there's definitely going to be a path even to those high percentages like the 500 and stuff like that. But maybe to hope that in a good ideal situation, we are aiming for that range that would lead to, if we were printing, most of the time, closer to 200% or, double the amount of GoldMint put into the node program over about 3 months. So
Yeah.
that's closer to my estimate.
Yeah. I'd say it's fair. It's really difficult to, exactly say.
Correct. By participating in the first round of nodes, you're automatically open. There's going to continue to be quarterly nodes released. They're not all going to have exactly the same, initial discount and the things that we're offering now. But yeah, Jorge, you got it exactly correct. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, Wellness asked, does GoldMint plan to partner with any other DEXs to add liquidity to the ecosystem in near future? And has Elk Finance replied?
What's that? What was the last part of that?
Has Elk Finance replied? That's what he's asking as well.
I do not believe I've heard from Elk Finance. I reached out to them to learn about they have a really cool concept for multi-chain bridging where they use kind of their own token. And I see a lot of issues when people try to go multi-chain and do bridging, and there's a lot of exploits and things. It's one of the biggest weaknesses is the bridges. When one protocol is telling another protocol on a different chain that it is acceptable to print a certain type of token, it's a potential route for attack. And they have some potential solutions for that, so they're interesting. And they just decided to make Ethereum one of their chains. And I did ask them if I could learn a little bit about how they were doing that. I found that interesting. It's not exactly the time for GoldMint to be thinking about multi-chain. Like I said, there's even risks involved, and we want to get ourselves situated here on Ethereum. We started on Ethereum for a reason. But I am curious if there's a lot of chains that don't have a gold backed or a gold peg token. So on Ethereum, we are the first one pegged to an ounce of gold, but there are, one or two or three different gold backed tokens available on Ethereum. If on some of these other EVM chains, there's nothing related to or priced in accordance with gold on their chain. So there could be some value to doing something like that. As far as partnering with other DEXs, I don't know. I guess there's two types of DEXs. We're really committed to being on Uniswap and having our core pairs be on Uniswap, and we don't want to spread our liquidity too thin. But there are some potential partnerships. I mean, Passengers is technically a decentralized exchange that finds the best route for tokens. There's a couple different things that we could look at, but our core LP is probably going to remain on Uniswap for now.
Yeah. We'll definitely be, as we grow and time goes by, a couple months down the line, we'll definitely be able to reach out some more and get our name noticed, I guess, some more. Right now it's a little bit hard in the first month of everything, especially with all the scamming in the space and everything. So got to really prove yourself as a team and project that's here for the long run and not just a slow rug or anything like that.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of cool partnerships and stuff. We hope to definitely land and to help solidify, like our liquidity or whatever the partnership entails. And also, anybody got suggestions on that, fucking throw them in the suggestions and let us know. We're open to lots of things.
We're talking to a lot of people behind the scenes. I also have to be careful. Usually when these things are arranged, they're confidential. I mean, there's definitely things that we're getting pretty close to integrating. There's some major, definitely top 100 tokens that we're talking to about some cool stuff we can do together. And as soon as the time's right, we'll definitely have more to add on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
More than one.
Yeah. More than one. Yeah.
Any other questions?
what's the marketing plan like, and who are our targets?
Ah, yeah, that's a good question with quite a few quite a few different answers. So the marketing plan is definitely to be non-traditional, but we do not fail to notice that it's cool to have some of your stuff discussed on YouTube and things like that. What we decided to do, and the reason our server has 550 people or something like that right now instead of 5,000 is because we didn't start with bots or people who were useless that knew nothing about crypto. Almost entirely organic growth. We wanted to build that good foundation, but we have an awesome message to deliver. Uh, it's been pretty good for us participating in this over the last couple weeks, and we talked about earlier that not too many other people in crypto are having that experience. So we have found a way to reach out a wee little bit just to start. We're not going to go crazy, but we'll have a couple respectable YouTube guys, a couple respectable Twitter guys, maybe start to talk about us a little bit more and put us in front of uh, the DeFi audience that doesn't just hang out in the algo crypto space, that doesn't share mutual servers, with a small handful of us here, and hit a little bit of a broader audience. But we want to keep doing that slowly and building one at a time. And it's, that once people do these like invite contests and try to, get 1,000 bots in there and people that don't know what they're doing because their buddy begs them to join and stuff like that, that's not how we want to do it. But, we have a great community right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to build on this the same way we built it, slow and steady with great participants.
Yeah.
And we will use a little bit of advertising, but our targets are definitely not going to be, the people that have mutual servers with us anymore. It's going to start to be people who think gold is interesting and maybe weren't interested in blockchain or crypto at all before. Or it's going to be people who are in other aspects of DeFi, or maybe folks who used to just have some holdings on Coinbase or did the Binance thing or something like that. We're going to reach out to kind of some different people that are participating in these other algo stables. We're going for a much, much bigger goal, a much longer term vision. And we're going to try to find people, all sorts of participants from all over the space.
Yeah. The crypto marketing stuff is kind of hard. With, I don't know, I guess a lot of it's, Twitter and pretty much just like junk, kind of like it's like, and everybody is essentially, looking for the next degen play or how to make money quick and stuff like that. Not a lot of people are really down for that long-term vision. So finding that audience specifically, I think it's a lot tougher. So it's definitely a different approach. Not the same as Vu was saying, like, filling your server with bots or spamming on Twitter for a whole bunch of, like, for weeks at a time or like something like that, trying to get like every degen possible to join in and stuff, because it doesn't bring natural and good, I guess, like good participation, good actors. Yeah, it's all very tough.
Yeah, but it's just to add on top of this, and I think Vu said this a little bit, that it's going to be a little bit non-traditional, our marketing approach, at least compared to crypto. I mean, the gold precious metals market is $11 trillion, right? And it doesn't get cut in half over the course of 2 weeks, right? So there are a lot of people out there that invest and believe in precious metals and gold in particular. And we believe that our protocol offers a great entry point for those folks that maybe aren't traditionally involved in cryptocurrencies or in blockchain, but that may be, with the allure and understanding of GoldMint, that might be their entry point. So I think, I'd like to say we're going to put some of our marketing towards those avenues in that crowd as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things we say a lot, is that we want to bridge the gap to bring gold and DeFi together. We think it's a pretty cool opportunity, especially with what you said, the market cap of gold and the amount of people that like in the real world and who trade just regularly stocks, or they just only believe in commodities. It could be a big opening to help bring more people and adapt into DeFi more as it grows, because it's just a continually growing thing. It's non-stop every day, and it's just a crazy world. So I think we can bring that stability and yield on top of a commodity that most people don't normally get. It could be a really cool and intriguing thing. And yeah,
Yep.
shout out to Doc for
And I guess Sweet
doing that.
Toxin's got another one in there. So be some face-to-face promotion. Just tell your friends. There's no official face-to-face campaign, but go ahead and tell your friends about us.
There,
That sounds pretty good.
there was a talk like when we were first starting about going to, what was it, like Bitcoin Miami or whatever, and
The
handing out
conference
business
was
cards.
right around the same time as our launch in
Yeah.
Miami. Going down there and chilling in person,
Yeah,
IRL chilling.
that would have been the face to face right there, I guess.
Maybe we'll stop down next year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like, it could be pretty cool actually. If there's anything Ethereum related, honestly, that would be another awesome,
Yeah,
cool thing to go
that's a pretty
participate.
big one.
Oh yeah, with what he said, a conference for gold enthusiasts. No, it's true. That's why with what Doc said, like there's a very very big audience that's not in crypto that can be reached out to. It's just a little bit, again, like a little bit harder to really find that audience specifically, but and like lead them into crypto, because a lot of them think like, oh, it's a
Yeah, I don't
scam
know
or whatever.
if there's like a national like people who are super into gold conference with like booths and stuff like that.
Let
Somebody give
us
me some
know.
info on
Yeah,
that. We'll go check it
we'll
out.
try
There
and be
probably
there.
is.
And then Wellness did
Um,
ask as well, is there any PAXG
Miners.
projects, I guess any other PAXG projects that could be
Uh,
partnered with?
I don't want to say definitely no, but to the best of my knowledge, PAXG doesn't run any initiatives for like partners or things like that,
Hmm.
and I don't think anyone else is pegged to PAXG.
I
So I
Yeah.
think it's just us.
I genuinely think we are like the first protocol to integrate PAXG within its ecosystem, essentially. I don't think you can use PAXG like anywhere else, really. Maybe in a couple other places for some small things, but I'm not
Yeah,
100%. I can't say that for sure.
yeah, not 100, but I'm pretty sure now there's nobody available.
It's not. I've owned PAXG for a good while, and it's no, it's been one of those things that more just sits there in your wallet, right? And
Just
you're
like,
you're happy you have it, and in days like today, you're happy you have it, but
yep.
you're even more happy if like you can have it somewhere where it's earning yield and you have a potentially tradable token on top of that. So
Yeah, just like in the real world, you hold gold to have a secure, safe asset. So if things, go south, it's like, ah, well, I got this much in a, like quote unquote liquid gold. So pretty safe there. Um, but yeah, I think that's probably pretty much it, unless there's
Looks
any more
like Jorge's
questions.
typing one more.
Where can I learn more about PAXG?
Yeah, we can get a link. We
Yeah,
should just have a link in the docs or
honestly,
something.
yeah, learn more about Paxos Gold. Paxos it's actually really interesting. It is a good read and good research, and they're pretty cool, honestly. The whole idea behind it it's awesome. Just like how I was saying before, it's kind of like there's people in the real world who trade and they want a safe place to have their money that's not just in the bank account, so they hold gold, they hold commodities. That's essentially what PAXG can be for DeFi. Have part of your
Yep.
portfolio in gold. Be safe.
And for anyone who's just listening on their phones, I did just share a link. Uh,
Yeah, that would
if
be.
you get a chance to jump into AMA discussion later, if you aren't seeing that right now in the AMA discussion, there is a link to Paxos PaxG website docs.
Yeah.
Um, Looks like we might have another one coming in.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Rome typing up here. The eyes.
He's
I will say it's been a little bit hectic within the Ethereum mainnet with the gas and everything. So I hope everybody's taking it easy out there and not wasting too much Ethereum on some gas and just take it easy and be
Yeah,
safe on your
steak and
trades.
chill.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any thought to using NFTs for the nodes? So this first round of nodes is definitely not going to include NFTs. But yeah, on the back end and in our private chat, we're talking about NFTs. We have some that are like really, really fun and
Yeah.
funny, and that we might think about going with. But then we also have some that are like really cool and really practical, and we're there's my steak and chill. Um, and work in maybe like PAXG and GoldMint and some sort of, like imagine maybe if it was like a sealed NFT or something, you didn't know what you were going to get, and there was some sort of um, token reward incorporated. So we're looking at a couple different things that we can do. But this first round of nodes, there's not going to be like an NFT boost or an advantage like
Yeah.
Great Finance has, which is super cool.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep rolling out nodes every quarter. So every 3 months, you can pretty much bet your ass that we're going to do something else cool with the nodes.
Yeah,
and I would not be
exactly.
surprised if by the next round you maybe see some fun NFTs out.
For sure.
Some,
It was a little bit too short. Like, it definitely was a thought. We were like, oh, we could kind of mimic Grape in a sense, how they do theirs, but maybe do a little bit differently. But realistically, short end, we were like, yeah, it's probably not going to work out. But it is definitely a discussion. I got lots of ideas for implementing NFTs in a kind of cool way, and maybe like lots of different ways too. There's so many different things that you can actually do with it. And with what Vu was saying, like, you like it could be like a reveal with a different rarity, and different rarities maybe have a different, let's say, like backing of maybe GoldMint tokens or PAXG to that NFT to actually provide
or
it real
other really
value.
cool stuff that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know. There's a lot you can do.
Mm-hmm. So there's
Um,
quite a few and cool things we could do. Definitely for later down the road. Just like a lot of other things, is it feels crazy. It feels like it's been 3 months already, but it hasn't. It's been 1 month, not even. So a lot more coming.
yeah, I think we just hit 3 weeks. Today's 3 weeks since full protocol deployment for anyone
Mm-hmm.
keeping track. Uh,
Since Genesis, it's just
yeah.
under a month. But yeah, I think we can probably wrap her up here.